Marist College. I am Andrew Auger, president of MCTV, and I'm talking with Rajiv Surendra, better known to some of you as Kevin G from Mean Girls. Rajiv, thank you for talking to us today on this Wednesday afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so...
Andy? Andy? Can I call you Andy?
You can call me whatever you want.
Okay.
I prefer Drew, but
Drew.
Andy
okay.
works as well.
I'm going to call you Andy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you've earned that right.
Sure.
So my first question to you, what brings you to Marist? Because, you know, a lot of people are wondering, like, we were happy that Kevin G's coming, but why is Kevin G coming to Marist?
Well, earlier this year I started going on a speaking tour to share a story that I think will be very beneficial to kids in college. It's a personal story. It's an experience that I went through that spanned about 10 years, and it started on the set of Mean Girls, and it ended just a couple of years ago.
Right.
And it was a journey of failure, but success that actually ends up coming out of failure. So I think it's a story that will speak to college students, because when they're done school, they're faced with this big open door that can be scary at times, and I hope that my own experience and my advice will be inspirational to everybody that hears my talk.
Right, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to the talk. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you.
I hope so.
So you studied at the University of Toronto, that's correct?
Yep.
So you started at the University of Toronto. Do you have any college experiences that when Rajiv has children, would you want to tell them about before you go to college? I mean, they can be PG-13, it doesn't matter, but...
Experiences, my college experience was kind of boring, but...
Oh, I'm sure that's not true.
I would say that in terms of advice...
Right.
To a younger generation, I would say that the thing I took away from college that was the most valuable is, if you're not enjoying what you're studying, stop.
Right.
And take time off. Or if you know that you aren't enjoying what you're studying and you think you might like doing something else, don't be afraid to switch, because that's what school is there for. It's to teach you, but it's also there to inspire you. And if you're unsure of what you're doing, try to, figure out what it is that will ultimately make you happy. Yeah. Or even just while you're studying will make you happy, Yeah.
I think that's valuable advice, too, because college students we're so unsure about everything. This is a crossroads in our life. And, yeah, I think that's a great thing to tell the students. So let's get to Mean Girls. Let's talk a little bit about Mean Girls. How'd you get the role of Kevin G? How'd the audition process go? Did you, I might have read this incorrectly, did you originally try out for the role of Damien?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You've done your research.
I did my research.
So
I didn't want to look stupid.
I read for the part of Damien, and the audition went well. So what happens to people that don't know how the audition process works is you have an agent that will get you an audition, and then you'll get a few pages of the script, and you usually only have like 1 or 2 days to memorize your lines.
Right.
And then you go in and you read for your part. So I tried out for Damien. The audition went smoothly. I didn't hear back from them for a couple of weeks, and I just assumed that I didn't get it. And then I got a call saying, hey, there's this other part that they want to see you for. And it was originally written for a Chinese guy. The
Really?
character's name was Kevin Noor.
So it was originally supposed to be an Asian character?
Yes.
Wow.
So I went in and to the audition room, and there were a bunch of other Asian kids and me, and I had to memorize the rap.
Right.
So I went into the audition room, and I think I tried like 5 times, and I kept screwing up. I just couldn't for the life of me remember those words. And after the 5th time, I was like, okay, I think that's the best I can do. And I left thinking, boy, I blew that. I didn't get that. And then I got called back, and they liked something about it, and I did a couple more auditions, and I got the part.
Who was in the audition room? Was Tina Fey in the audition room, or anybody, or was it just...
No,
Mark Waters, was he there? Or?
He was eventually. The first time you usually go in for an audition is just the casting director, or sometimes not even the casting director. It's the casting director's assistant.
Okay.
So that very first time, I was just auditioning to a camera that they were filming my audition.
Right.
And then they sent that to the director. The second time I auditioned, they gave me some notes, and it was just a camera. And the third time, the director and the producer were in the room.
All right, well, so now you get the part, and this set full of comedic, heavyweights. You have Tina Fey, Tim Meadows, Lindsay Lohan, obviously, Rachel McAdams, Amanda Seyfried. Were there any funny stories from the set? Lizzie Kaplan, anything?
Well, the amazing thing about shooting this movie was that it was my first movie, and I was kind of nervous as to what the tone of the set would be. And it was completely relaxed because no one was really a star at that point.
Right.
And all of those
yeah.
names you mentioned were kind of unknown names. I mean, people knew about Lindsay Lohan from The Parent Trap, and Freaky Friday had just come out, but she wasn't a huge star.
Right.
And neither was Tina Fey or Rachel McAdams. Rachel was just in one little movie called The Hot Chick.
Right.
So there were no sort of divas on set. And that was a wonderful thing because everyone was down to earth and sort of chilled. So we had a lot of fun shooting. Like there was lots of joking around, and lots of the cast hung out together. A very interesting story, actually, that I think people will appreciate is I kind of wondered how this movie would do because it was my first movie, and I remember sitting in the hair and makeup chair, and the woman that did our hair was this blonde lady that had worked on many big films that shot in Toronto. So I thought I'd ask her about her opinion, and I said, "How do you think this movie's going to fare?" And she was like, "Oh, please. It's called Mean Girls, and it's starring Lindsay Lohan. It's going straight to DVD." And I remember being kind of disappointed at that point, but then the movie came out, and it slowly grew, and the amazing thing is it's now, 10 years later, much bigger than it was when it first came out. So
It's so quoted between, like, people our age.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's so quoted between people our age. It's one of our, like, favorite movies of the 2000s, and just to see it grow like that. Do you still keep in contact with any of the cast members? Or
some of them.
Yeah.
I'm good friends with Daniel Franzese, who played Damien.
Damien, yeah.
And I live in New York, and I've bumped into Tina Fey a couple times in the street.
Oh, hey, Tina. What's up?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you buy an ice cream? I buy an ice cream too. I hung out with Lindsay Lohan last year once before she moved to England. So I think, the fact that the movie has just sort of become this huge thing has made the cast kind of close, so that whenever we're, in the same city, we reach out to each other and try to get together.
What's Tina Fey's favorite ice cream? What was she getting that day? You remember?
I don't know.
No.
No.
What's your favorite
I
ice
didn't
cream?
pay attention. My favorite ice cream, it really depends on the day. I like maple walnut.
Maple walnut. That's
Yeah.
exotic. I like that.
Yeah.
Maple walnut. You're from Canada, though. So
Yeah,
that makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
Maple walnut.
That might be why. Yeah, exactly.
So I think the role of Kevin G can be classified as a scene stealer. Absolutely. Right? Would you say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think
I think so.
it's one of the most flattering things to hear. I remember reading the part and thinking, oh, well, this is just a very small little part in this movie.
Right.
I feel really lucky to be a part of it. And the fact that the rap is remembered and sort of revered is kind of a huge honor. It's very hard for me to step back and look at my own performance and assess what it is the sort of the scale that I contributed to the movie. But from the feedback, it's really nice and surprising to know that, my little part was a significant part of the film.
And I think the rap is definitely one of the most memorable moments of the movie. And I heard Amy Poehler and Tina Fey gave you some coaching on that.
Yes.
What exactly did they tell you?
Well, I just thought I was going to just, do it my way, but I didn't really realize that the two of them had really thought about this rap, and for them it was an important part of the movie, whereas to me it was just kind of like a joke. So they actually filmed this video of them doing different versions of the rap, and they were trying to act all gangster and ghetto.
I wish I could beatbox, but I can't. Yes, you can.
Do it, yeah, beatbox.
I really can't beatbox. Okay, are we rolling?
Yes.
Okay, see here. All right. Oh, you sucker MCs ain't got nothing on me. From my grades to my lines, you can't touch Kevin G.
I'm a math geek, so nerd isn't birds, but forget what you heard. I'm like James Bond III.
Just shaking, not stirred. I'm Kevin the Poor. The G is silent when I sneak in your door.
Make love to your woman on the bathroom floor. I don't play it like Shaq, you'll know it was me.
Make all the ninth grade ladies wanna suck my what?
I don't know if they were serious about it or if they wanted to just sort of make me have fun with it, but right before we shot the rap, Tina kind of took me aside and she's like, okay, well, this is what you should be thinking while you're doing it, and this is your motivation. And so it became really clear to me that it was a point of pride for her that I do justice to this rap.
And you certainly did, I think, absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
So moving on from Mean Girls for the moment. So post Mean Girls, obviously the film comes out hot and everything, and I know you have a history with the film Life of Pi, and I figured that's probably what you're going to be touching on a little bit in your lecture, probably.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what my talk is about.
Yeah. Very briefly, can you just explain like the Cliff Notes version of what happened there, and how did that experience like shape you to where you are now?
Of course, I was introduced to that book on the set of Mean Girls, and someone said, you got to read this book. You are exactly like this character in this book. And I had no idea what he was talking about.
Right.
So I got the book and I read it, and it was uncanny how similar I was to that character. As a young East Indian actor in Toronto, most of the roles that I was auditioning for up until this point were small parts that were for math geeks or terrorists.
Right.
Or like they were kind of all the same.
The typecasting.
Yeah, exactly. So after reading the book, a week later, I found out that the book was going to be made into a film, and it was this huge revelation to me that there was the possibility that I could be, playing a lead role in a major Hollywood production that had some meat to it. So I decided to go after that part, and they were supposed to start shooting the movie 6 months after we'd finished Mean Girls. But it ended up taking 7 years, and I stuck with it for that long. So that's what my talk is about. It's about kind of chasing this dream and really going after something that you have no idea, where the final destination is.
And I can't wait to hear the entire talk. The subtext there sounds like and the messages there sound like it's universal, even if it's specific to your story. A little interesting tidbit. I know you're into art and such. You were doing calligraphy in New York City, right?
Yep.
The calligraphy business. How'd you get into that? And what's the most rewarding part of that?
Well, I started as a kid. I kind of had a lot of strange hobbies.
Right.
I used to keep chickens in my backyard. Like I built a chicken coop, and I had these Araucana chickens that are a South American breed, and they lay blue and green eggs. Like their shells are beautiful blue and green eggs. And I did pottery. And I sculpted and I did oil painting, and one of the things that I did as a kid was calligraphy. So I've had these myriad hobbies for the last 15 years, and after I graduated from college and after I found out, and this is, I'm giving it away, I didn't get the Life of Pi part. I was kind of faced with, what do I do now? And someone had seen my calligraphy work just casually, and she was in the wedding industry in Toronto, and she said, you really could do this for a living, and you should do this for a living because it's kind of a lost art. So I took her advice, and I just sort of started up a small business and put up a website, and it slowly grew. Well, it actually quickly grew, and it randomly turned into doing calligraphy on chalkboards at cafes and restaurants, and then for major advertising firms when they were doing ads, they would want it done in hand, by hand on huge chalkboards.
Wow.
So it's been this occupation that I never imagined would be bringing in an income, but that has been so gratifying because it has been something that I taught myself how to do without any pressure of having to make it, earn an income. And inadvertently, that's what it did.